Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel startuplanes.com. I am More Tanvi and as you know, these are the series of interviews that we are conducting for promotion of various startups. For today's interview, we have Mr. Vaibhav, the CEO and co-founder of Avecul. Avecul's mission is to build self-reliance in India aerospace and aviation ecosystem by pioneering transformation through global outreach. The word Avecul stems from the amalgamation of two classic languages. Avai, a Latin word which means flight or to fly, and Kul, a Sanskrit word which means home, family or community. Hence, the motto is the home of aviation. Avecul believes and promotes the concept of learn while you fly. Their training modules are enriched with practical lessons in parallel to those of theory, thus enabling a hands-on experience for the candidates during their program. Space-related stuff is always fascinating. So let's know more about this fascinating startup by Vaibhav himself. So good afternoon, sir. I am More Tanvi from Startup Lanes and we are very grateful to have you on the board for this interview. Yeah. Sir, I would request you to please introduce yourself to our viewers.
So basically, my name is Vaibhav, right? I'm the managing director of Avecul Private Limited, right? And by profession, I'm an aeronautical engineer, and I've written a couple of books so far. So this is, in short, what my profile would be.
Yeah, great. So my very first question to you is that how did you come up with the idea of startup?
So, the thing is that since all of us, most of my friends, and we were all into aeronautics and aerospace. So it is quite obvious that we will be doing something related to this. But the whole reason that I started with this idea is because we were not trained in India. We went to Russia for the training of aeronautics and aerospace. Okay. So it gives us something to bring into India, something which is not already existing. That is the general idea of how we came up with this thing.
Okay. So, sir, what was the most difficult part that you faced in the early stages of the journey?
See, we are still in the early stage, by the way. Okay, we are not grown full scale as such, since it's just still a startup. We do have clients. Yes, we are on the stage of getting clients. But I think it is not the difficulty with respect to the company as such. It is the difficulty with respect to the field that we are working, specifically aviation. Because DGCA has got such a long list and strict list of rules. So when you want to start a company, anything related to aviation, you need to go through security clearance. And that security clearance is such an intense process. Your company has to be verified. The IB verifies your profile. The narcotics department verifies your profile. The tax department verifies. So there's verification from N number of departments. And that I believe is still till now, when we think of new verticals in the company, that is always one of the biggest challenges, and sometimes even more than the investment, that is the biggest question. That should we do it or should we not do it? Because of that.
Okay. So, sir, just now you mentioned that you have a established market already out there. So, I want to know that what was the market gap that you identified?
So, essentially, there are two things that I'm looking for. Okay. First thing, let's come down to the flight school itself. So, one of our verticals is about training people to become pilots, right? So commercial pilots and to have theoretical ground classes, right? So what happens that in countries like Russia and USA, you can finish your commercial training in something around 8 months. That's the average time. In India, the average time is about 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay. It's quite a gap. It's quite a gap in the industry, right? And the reason, it's not because we don't have people or we don't have aircrafts, we don't have investments. We have everything. There are only two reasons in my view. First things first, there are very less people in aviation. So more or less everybody knows everyone. That's how it is. It's not a big industry. It's a closed industry, right? So unlike finance, I would say it's a big industry and you can do a lot of things, right? Tech, for example, is a big industry, but aviation is not a big industry. It is quite possible that, you will run into one person more than 2 times. It is how it is, right? So you cannot make enemies with anyone. You cannot be rude to anyone, right? So that is the main demand. You have to be nice to everyone. You have to know everyone. So the biggest gap being that 2 years is because of the mismanagement and lack of maintenance. So we decided to focus only on 2 things. Since we have lived in countries apart from India, we have learned how they do things efficiently. Right? Where does that? Because they are also flying Cessna 172. We are also flying Cessna 172. So we are not using any modern aircraft or state-of-the-art technology. Everything is same. And in fact, Cessna 172 aircraft is the standard aircraft all over the world, no matter where you go for training. So why is it that in India it is taking 2 years and somewhere else it takes 6 months? It's purely because maintenance is not something that is being given the attention in India. And that is true in our daily life also. See, India, what is the idea? The idea is basically about jugaad. If your car goes down, you somehow repair yourself and you take it ahead. You don't want to have a scheduled maintenance. So that's precisely the market that we're trying to fill up. That's the first particular. Second thing, India has been into aviation for a long time. Okay, we have got big airlines, but we still have counted number of airlines. Okay, you can count on your fingers. How many? Maybe Indigo, SpiceJet, and that's all. 2, 3 more, 5, 6. So if I ask you to count the number of airlines, probably it can all come on your fingertips, right? But there is always scope of starting more regional airlines to connect smaller cities of India. Okay, so this is one market gap that we're trying to fill. Second, another thing which is of high importance is of the design and development of aircraft. So we are always buying. Recently, Indian government purchased a lot of aircraft from France and so forth and so forth. All this happened, but we are still not designing our own aircraft. So that is the long-term goal,
Great. Surely you would be able to achieve that. My next question is that did your friends and family help you in the funding in the initial stages? Like you are in the initial stages,
I have a rule that I never approach friends and families. Okay. This is not a rule now. This has been a rule since I started studying also. Even in my college years, when I had to go to foreign, I never relied on financial help from anyone. Okay, I decided whatever comes in my personal capacity as an individual, whichever way I can earn. And I think one thing that everybody needs to understand is that you shouldn't be afraid of doing anything. Like no work is small for you. So I have tried giving interviews at call centers also. Just any job possible. Okay, but I have made sure that money comes out of my own labor and not from anyone else. Because when it is from you, you don't have obligation of paying it back. And that is an advantage that in a startup, that kind of advantage is very important. Because most of the time in startups, we are concerned about paying it back. I try to have it mostly from my sources. Initially, obviously, when you make it big, you need startups. So I'm partnered with one of the businessmen from Russia. He's fairly well settled in life. So initial investment, bootstrapping was not a problem. Okay. For further expansions, we are still looking on for investors, potential investors who would come and join with the vision. A few had come, but they were looking at our project with pure commercial angle, right? And that is something that we actually in the company do not prefer. Right? We prefer that you should share. Obviously, there are commercial things involved, but you should share the vision also, right? So that is where we are in a hard point, that where to get the right investors. So that's the stage we are in right now.
So non-commercial vision is also important. Even financial independence is also important. But
financial, we do have a budget sheet for that, and hopefully everything works according to it. But at the same time, once you get the return, are you planning to reinvest it? So what is the next step? Those things are always in consideration.
So now I would like to know that what is your business model? Like, please explain it in detail.
Okay, so business model is quite simple, right? There are two things that we do. One is purely for outreach. Okay, there technically there's no business model, but that gives us the maximum kind of exposure. Okay, now everybody who comes into my company works in two ways. Okay, one is purely for no profit. Okay, this is our outreach program that we are doing every second. Okay, since we all come from aeronautical background and we all have good amount of experience working in this field, right? So we try to connect the professionals to the enthusiasts. So we become a medium. For example, next week we are going to have a webinar with a pilot of SpiceJet, Captain Sarthak. Right. After that, there's even more interesting webinar next month. It is by Wayne White, who is the manager of all stations in South Pole. So he manages all the scientists in South Pole. Now, this is something that common people don't come by. They don't get to interact with these people. So this is one vertical. Second, coming down to actual business model is that once we have done all the social work, once we are happy that we are doing some work, let's get down to finances. So major source of finances comes from the ground classes that we conduct, right? The CPL, the commercial pilot license ground classes. Okay, we try to go 60% of the market. So generally in Delhi, that it is 2,15,000. We try to make everything down in 1,18,000. That's always our target. Okay. How we work is that we try to take people who are actually very too beginners or too experienced. Only two kinds of people. So middle ones are there, but not more in number. Okay. For example, one of our instructors, Mr. Baliga, he was in Air Force for good 30 years. Right. So he has got thousands of hours of flying experience. But he is a person who wouldn't work with us just for money.
Yeah.
I mean, at least I don't expect somebody of his cadre or somebody graduating from Air Force to come down because he'll get some bucks. Because he's teaching purely because he's passionate.
Yeah.
And he has flown aircrafts. He's been teaching in Indian Air Force, where one fine day, one of his students was flying with him and the aircraft caught fire. And he was able to land it in the 5th round. Four landings were unsuccessful, but he managed to do it in 5th. So we have people like this in our team, right? That makes my job more easier. That helps me cut down the cost of the overall project. Second thing, we are opening our own flight training center in India, and currently we are partnered with anybody who wants to go outside India for training. So USA, we have got partners. Africa, we have got a couple of partners. Europe, we have got a couple of partners. So we help them because we are their point of contact in India. All they know is but we help you get your commercial pilot license back there.
Okay.
So this is general idea. Third business model, which has not been initiated yet, is to participate in the tenders under Make in India.
Okay.
Right? So the defense ministry regularly releases a list of things that they want to be constructed. For example, a lot of defense materials, ballistic materials, and aircrafts and this and that. We are setting up our own R&D lab in order to make it completely in India. That is the target.
Yeah. So my next question is that, as you know, we are going through this uncertain pandemic since a year almost. So I want to know that what are the other factors you see impacting your business in the coming years?
See, aviation in general has been impacted a lot. Okay. Yeah. Now, one thing with aviation is that we expect that every 10 years there's going to be a big boom. Right? For example, in 2000s, we never had a lot of airlines in India. Suddenly, there's 10 years down the line, 2010, you have all the airlines coming up. Within 5 years, you have common people flying. So it happens every 10 years. That is the trend we try to follow in aviation.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that has been broken due to COVID. Right? Because I don't see anything happening for next 2-3 years. But what it does give you a space is that since no public development is happening, a lot of R&D and online development can happen. There is a good space for that. Yeah. In fact, when I started this whole aviation, this startup, people were questioning me, especially in COVID time, because I started all of this venture last year in October. And that is the peak of COVID time. That's when COVID is there. So nobody wants to start things at that time. And I said, we have to take one crazy decision. Why not this? Let's go ahead with that. Let's start keeping things online as much as possible. Yeah. Okay. The day things open up, we'll go offline. That's not a big deal. Okay. And second thing being that since the whole attention is on the slow running of airlines, we can divert attention on making the aircraft itself. That is where COVID or no COVID is not a problem for us. Okay. That does impact us is the less awareness of people. That has always been a problem in this sector. Right? See, people don't know what Airbus is, what Boeing is. They travel on an aircraft. It's a pleasure tour for them. But the intricacies of it, how much maintenance goes in before you fly, how much maintenance goes in after you get down from aircraft, how many people are working to make your flight happen. Not only that, the planes which protect our country, the defense planes and so forth. So a lack of awareness is something that is always challenging in this sector, always. Yeah.
Okay. So sir, my next question is that, as you said, that either you want to hire fresh talents or you want an experienced talent. So now I want to know that recently, are you planning to hire fresh talents in your business? And if yes, then what are the qualities you are looking at?
Yes, I'm always open to having fresh talents, right? Look, we don't go by the playbook. We don't go by that you have to wear formal clothes here and you have to wear this and that and you should have this much qualification. Really not. In fact, I rarely look at CVs, to be honest. Okay, I prefer meeting people one by one. Even if it takes me time, I would like to know them as a person. Right? Because what happens that when you give me your CV, okay, you don't write your negative qualities there.
Yeah.
Okay. You only write things about you. So I have to know you as a person in general. Because sometimes there are bad things about you that I can use, which you will not write in CV. So I need to know your negatives also. That is very important for me. Some people are impulsive, some people get angry very easily. Okay. And they don't write this in their CV. Why will they write this? Okay, but if they do tell me, I can use that impulsive nature somewhere. So that is the general idea.
Okay. That impulsive nature could be useful for you in future. So my next question is that, according to you, what are the personality traits of a good leader?
See, obviously you have to boss around. You have to boss around. There's no other way. But you must understand that you have to take the liability and responsibility of everything that goes wrong. Okay, I think that's where you being a good leader comes into picture. If you just have to be a leader, all you need is leadership quality. That you are able to control 5 people, you are able to inspire them, you are able to guide them. That is all good. But what do you do when your team members fail to achieve that target? How do you come into the picture? So I believe that's where a good leader comes. That's where the definition comes. That irrespective of whether team performs or not, obviously they have to. If your leadership is good, they have to. But in case they fail, are you ready to take up their job without any ego and do it for them? That's where I believe it. It's the biggest quality.
So next, I would like to know that describe a time you have to make tough decisions, for example, budget cuts or organizational restructure, etc.
So, we were expecting that our security clearance will come in 3 months. Okay. Then COVID happened. So half of DGCA got COVID, half of people in IB and RAW. So the biggest problem in aviation is that when you do your security clearance from DGCA, from the ministry, it goes to Home Ministry. From Home Ministry, it goes to IB and RAW. So that is your India's investigative agency. That's Information Bureau and your RAW, basically. Okay. The point is that nobody has got contacts in IB and RAW. No matter how rich you are or how much power you have, you can have contacts in Ministry of Home Affairs. Maybe you have contacts in Ministry of Energy, this and that. Everything is possible. But you cannot make contacts in IB and RAW. It's possible. They do the underground surveillance. Okay. So how much delay will that cause us? We don't know. Okay. And so we were expecting to start our flying school already. But unfortunately, due to COVID, the file movement was slow. And when something gets verified on field, because the IB people need to check everything about you, your financial history, your narcotics history, your travel history, everything. So that takes time. And because of this COVID, maybe they were not able to get on the ground to verify all these things. So that caused us a considerable delay. But we sort of dealt with it. We postponed our own flight school program, and we were successful in making partnership with other countries. So that's how we dealt with it. That instead of promoting our own product, we decided, okay, chalo, if this has caused delay, it changed everything because everything was structured according to it. But we flipped it within a week. We made partners with other people in other countries who already had security clearances. So that's how we got through it.
Great. So sir, as you mentioned earlier that now you are getting clients, you are in a growing stage. So I would like to know that are you looking for any vendors to simplify any part of your business?
Definitely. If there are people who work as counselors per se, right, who are in touch with students, who are in touch with enthusiasts, because sometimes, as I told you, that we do have 2 verticals. One is purely non-commercial also. So we would be very happy to have people who are good technically, right, and they just want to involve themselves in some kind of work or some kind of design, or they want us to take their design forward. Maybe they don't have the means or connections to take it forward. Probably we do have, so we can vouch for them. Second, as I said, counselors would be of big help to us because they deal with students directly. They are the ones who guide them. So they are the kind of vendors we're looking for.
So lastly, I would like to ask you that what are your recent and long-term goals for your business?
See, recent is to pay back the loans. It's quite simple. Loans, I mean, not really loan, but you do have a return rate, right? So you focus on that. You make sure that is always in place, because the moment it goes out of line one time, it will keep on happening. So I don't want that delayed culture to be there in the company. The long-term goal, so I think that is pretty much my short-term goal, that I'm able to have, if not profit, I should have the minimum number of clients that I need. Okay, I should be able to deliver exactly what I've thought, right? That even in the low budget, even in these things, even in the whole pandemic situation, the quality of work shouldn't go down. It's a major idea. That's the recent goal. What I'm thinking in a long term is to make this country a self-sustained nation in terms of R&D in aircrafts. Okay, that we are able to manufacture what we need instead of taking from someone else. Now, it's a big goal to achieve. I understand it's not going to be happening in next 2 years or 3 years, but that is why it's a long term. It's precisely why it's a long term goal.
It will take time, but surely, it will happen, I guess. Lastly,
we hope it happens. That's why we are here.
Continue.
No, I mean, we hope that it happens. That's why we are here.
So lastly, I would like you to say something to your viewers or our viewers.
No, in general, see, times are tough. That's all I would say. Times are tough, but I have seen that there are people who have had the guts and the courage to start things even in these times.
Yes.
And that gives me hope. It gives me hope that the youth of India is ready to do what it takes to achieve what they want.
Yes.
That is what I would say. It would be very cliche and very normal to say don't give up and all that, but you only test this when times are hard. So even in these hard times, I've seen people struggling and all that, but also I have seen that people are starting out with new ventures in this pandemic period. So that gave me a lot of hope, and I will hope that everyone who's watching this will keep that spirit alive. That's how we all can grow together.
Great piece of advice, sir. So thank you so much for your time and your crucial words. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for conducting this interview.
Yes, sir.